Hello everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Watch my video and subscribe my channel. Ridge permanently returns to Brooke as a result of Nick's disastrous proposal. After a horrific water accident in Italy, Ridge Forrester eventually decides to permanently pick Brooke Logan, according to previews for Bold and Beautiful. The 35-year romantic triangle between Brad Bell and Taylor Hayes is officially over. Find out the startling information. As Brooke takes a terrifying dive, Nick's boat proposal ends in disaster. Nick Marone believed he had the ideal solution. A lovely Italian boat cruise, a ring for engagement, an opportunity to break Brooke Logan's toxic cycle of being with Ridge Forrester for decades. However, what was supposed to be a dream proposal is about to become a nightmare, and the ensuing accident will completely alter the course of events. What we know about the proposal that goes horribly wrong is that Nick is going all out for his romantic gesture. The boat belongs to him. He has the ring. Brooke is exactly where he wants her to be, away from Ridge and prepared to hear that she is more deserving than a man who has spent 35 years vacillating between two women. Is it wrong that the man tried? When Ridge breaks Brooke's heart for the millionth time, she always turns to Nick as her safe haven and second choice. He's right about the harmful pattern, let's face it. How many times have we seen Ridge act as though Taylor Hayes and Brooke are interchangeable? This is where fate intervenes with a fury, though. Brooke is going to tumble into the sea during their romantic boat trip. Our girl is taking an unplanned swim in the Italian seas. Whether it's due to a piece of the dock collapsing, the boat swaying, or just simple bad luck. Furthermore, it won't be the cool dip that anyone was hoping for. Nick or Ridge to the rescue. This is where things start to become very interesting. Ridge watches the entire horrifying incident play out while wearing Taylor's engagement ring on his conscience while in Italy on business for Forrester. According to some teasers, Ridge jumps in right away to perform a valiant rescue. You mean the classic Ridge? There's nothing like a damsel in distress to let him understand how he really feels. According to other accounts, Nick may be the first to jump in, allowing Ridge to watch while his opponent holds a drenched Brooke in his arms. In either case, the same thing happens. Ridge finally awakens. The ultimate bombshell is dropped by Brad Bell soap aficionados. Grab your remote controls. With one jaw-dropping statement, Brad Bell just ended 35 years of will they won't they drama in an exclusive interview with the Italian magazine Oggi. Endgame is Ridge and Brooke. Not endgame until the next sweeps month. Not maybe endgame. But they'll be together forever after 8 marriages, according to the man who basically controls every plot point on this program. Following relationships with fathers, brothers, and all those in between. Following more breakups than we can count. CPS scandals and fictitious deaths. Taylor was always the fallback option. Finally, Ridge learns that his life is all about Brooke in Italy. Poor Taylor. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Could we perhaps pause for a moment for Taylor Hayes? At the moment, the woman is wearing Ridge's engagement ring. She is making plans for their future. It's likely that she has already reserved the wedding location. And because Brooke fell in some water, she's going to have her heart torn out once more. See, I understand. Experiences of near death have a way of making things clear. But hurry up. Every time Brooke does something controversial, Ridge turns to Taylor because she is the stable and safe option. After finishing second in this marathon for 30 years, she believes she has finally won, but she is wrong. After an Italian boat catastrophe, she begins to question why she continues to play this game. Why Italy? Why now? Bell's selection of Italy for this significant occasion is no accident. Ridge and Brooke have experienced both their most heartbreaking breakups and their most fervent reunions here. Do you recall Ridge seeing Brooke as his destiny when he peered through the keyhole in Rome? Apparently, in order to return full circle, fate had to take a 35-year detour through Taylor land. Let's also discuss Nick's role as the driving force behind this. The half-brother of Ridge, Brooke's former spouse, the man who has spent years alerting Brooke to this harmful loop. Nick's amorous gesture, in a perverse manner, is what forces Brooke to return to Ridge's embrace. Isn't that irony delicious? Future implications if Brad Bell is really about this forever business, as he appears to be. We're in for a radical change in the way bold and beautiful functions. No more triangles of love. No more hesitating. There will be no more rushing to Taylor in times of need. Rather, the drama will need to originate from outside sources. Expect things to get heated because their children are already at war. Steffi and Thomas versus Hope and RJ. Ridge and Brooke will present a unified front in the face of external threats, family disputes, and business rivals. What about Taylor? Regarding a possible partnership with Bill Spencer, fans are already making assumptions. The man she shot, that is. Because in the soap opera world, evidently attempted murder is merely foreplay. Social media is completely in meltdown mode, and the fan reaction is everything. Fans of Bridge are posting victory laps with captions like, "It's about damn time," and blowing champagne, and "It's finally paid off after." 35 years of waiting, supporters of Tridge are yelling at Ridge, demanding justice for Taylor, and threatening to boycott the company. So Taylor gets dumped because Brooke can't swim, a fan asked in a tweet. Make sense of it. The question of whether the triangle is truly over is up for dispute. Is it possible for a soap opera to function without its main romantic conflict? And really, don't both women deserve more than Ridge? I can't make up my mind. Forrester, after 35 years of the same back and forth? The bottom line, although Nick's plan may be doomed, pun intended, it is set to give rise to what soap opera viewers have been pleading for. A real solution to this never-ending triangle. Brooke isn't simply plunging into the Mediterranean when she does that. With Ridge, she's slipping right into her destiny. There isn't a safety net named Taylor waiting to save Ridge when things become tricky this time, if Brad Bell is to be believed. So, soap enthusiasts, fasten your belts. Ridge and Brooke's true, lasting relationship is about to take us into unexplored territory. No refunds. Don't hesitate. After the next misunderstanding, don't rush to Taylor. Taylor loses it, follows Eric Forrester. When the crew returns from Naples, Italy, viewers of The Bold and the Beautiful are aware that Ridge Forrester and Taylor Hayes' engagement is all but ended. According to soap opera spoilers, Ridge will eject Taylor and get back together with Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang. However, Taylor will point the finger at someone else for calling off her engagement. John McCook's character Eric Forrester has been a member of Team Brooke for years, and he doesn't conceal it. Is it incorrect for Taylor Hayes, Rebecca Budig, to hold him responsible for Ridge calling off their engagement? Here are some spoilers for what will happen on Bold and Beautiful next week. Eric gets his way on Bold and the Beautiful. Eric Forrester has been actively pushing for a Bridge reunion. The grandfather is obviously expecting that sparks will fly between him and Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, who he knows is the only woman for his son. In fact, he made sure the two of them traveled to Italy. Eric has not only been pressuring Ridge and Brooke to get together, but according to BNB spoilers, he might even be working against Captain Nick Marone's, Jack Wagner, proposal in Europe. Eric Forrester will have been instrumental in Brooke and Ridge's reconciliation. It wouldn't be absurd for Taylor to hold him responsible for her breakup and unmarried status. Spoilers for Bold and the Beautiful indicate that Taylor Hayes will lose it when Ridge informs her he is getting back together with Brooke when he gets home. Taylor has had enough of the women's back and forth for decades. According to rumors, she might even attempt to exact revenge on Eric Forrester for allegedly pressuring Ridge to break up with her. Taylor wants to be absolutely certain that she will not physically harm her children's grandfather. However, she is undoubtedly knowledgeable enough about Forrester Creations' operations to undermine the corporation and get revenge on Eric Forrester. Additionally, Jacqueline McInnes, Wood's character Steffi Forrester, has left town and won't be around to entice her disgraced mother to change her ways. Nick's doomed proposal, Ridge's race. Spoilers for Monday. August 4's episode of The Bold and the Beautiful point to some surprises and turns. Fans can anticipate that Brooke Logan, Catherine Kelly Lang, will be the target of an attempt by Ridge Forrester, Torsten Kay. Additionally, Jack Wagner's character Nick Marone's water project is doomed. Let's discuss the upcoming events in the CBS soap opera as you continue reading. Brooke Logan's choice. Brooke spoke with Ridge about how much she was hurting from being with him in Italy. Ridge refused to let her go, insisting she stay. Then Eric Forrester, John McCook, followed suit. Be sure to check out our BNB previews for next week here. Brooke has had enough of being Ridge's love yo-yo, despite their entreaties. Thus, she hurried out and accompanied Nick. Brooke also didn't appear to turn around as she left. Despite her sadness, Brooke is aware that she is worthy of more than being a backup girl. Brooke eventually falls into the river during Ridge Forrester's rescue mission. Brooke might not want to lie on top of a speeding boat ever again after watching the promo footage. Ridge is en route to thwart the plan. Ridge appears to be there to prevent Brooke from drowning. But does it mean she will reconsider? Read this. The Young and the Restless spoilers. Is a love triangle ahead for Victoria, Nate, and Claire? John Finnegan's confrontation, according to Monday. August 4th spoilers for The Bold and the Beautiful. Tanner Novlan's character John Finnegan will have a heated discussion with Ashley Jones' character Bridget Forrester. Finn is committed to confronting Grace Buckingham, Cassandra Creech, and finding the truth. Initially, Grace says everyone would simply have to wait and be patient. But Finn will expose Grace after he investigates. Grace Buckingham's exposure in a preview. Finn is shown pulling Grace along with him at Bill Spencer's Don Diamont estate. Grace is instructed by Finn to inform everyone about Liam Spencer's, Scott Clifton, brain cancer. Although Liam and Hope Logan, Annika Noel, appear perplexed and worried, it appears that the truth will be revealed too soon. What will happen to Bill if he discovers that Grace has deceived him? The why is another issue. Since Grace doesn't seem like a horrible person, there must be a reason why she misled everyone about Liam's illness. Additionally, there may be moments in which Lee Finnegan, Naomi Matsuda, Tensa Luna Nozoa, Lisa Yamada. Does Lee genuinely believe she can transform the young murderer? People become their true selves at a certain age. For Brooke Logan, Nick Marone's disastrous proposal off the coast of Naples was supposed to represent a fresh start, a literal and symbolic break from the never-ending struggle she's faced between her two greatest loves, Ridge Forrester and, well, Ridge Forrester. Since Nick, let's be honest, has always been a part of Ridge's imposing legacy. Brooke's supposed destiny, the man she married and divorced more times than most people renew their vehicle leases. For once, though, Nick wished to be the one to end the cycle, the one to rescue Brooke from that emotional whirlpool, from years of Bridge versus Tridge arguments, from Taylor's tearful speeches, and from Ridge's unbearable silence. He did more than simply purchase a ring and rent a boat. No, Nick created the ideal fairy tale, an ancestral engagement diamond glistening like hope, champagne bubbles floating in the sea air, and a beautiful Italian sun. He wished to provide Brooke with the tranquility she was never able to find with Ridge. But destiny, soap style, had a twist, and Brad Bell's pen had other ideas. Brooke faltered, lost her balance, and fell into the glistening Mediterranean as Nick knelt with the ring box shaking in his hand. This unintentional dive caused a massive upheaval in the Forrester-Logan Marone cosmos. Ridge Forrester, who happened to be coming on the dock heartsick and haunted, with Taylor's engagement ring still warm on his finger, suddenly realized that it was about survival, clarity, and more than simply a proposal. Ridge told Taylor that he had come in on business, but there had been strife with every step he took toward Naples. Brooke was the storm he never really left behind, even though Taylor Hayes had been his fulcrum for years. When Ridge witnessed Brooke's fall, instinct took precedence over all other considerations, including Taylor, propriety, the future, and the vows made. He plunged in, without hesitation, Like 35 years of memories crashing in a tidal wave, the water closed over his head. When he finally got to Brooke, he drew her gasping into his arms, and it was over the instant their eyes locked in that hazy Italian light, wet and startled. Not only for Nick's suggestion, not for the day only, except for the triangle, an era's defining triangle. Because Ridge was aware in that gasping moment that bridge is endgame, which Brad Bell would later confirm in an astounding conversation with Audrey. The triangle has ended. The smart, kind, and patient Taylor Hayes is no longer there. The fan base was suddenly in disarray. In real time, Twitter became viral. So Brooke fell off a boat and Taylor gets dumped? One admirer posted angry gifs of Taylor sobbing. Make it make sense. However, it was confirmation for ardent Bridge supporters. Another fan wrote, 35 years for this, with tears in their eyes. Thank you, Brad Bell. However, Nick was wet and unable to speak back in Italy. He had prepared for everything, with the exception of Ridge's gravitational pull, which was beyond his control. It broke his heart to see Ridge encircle Brooke in his jacket, speak words that only she could hear, and carry her away from the boat, from him, and from the life they could have led. The irony was cruel. Brooke was thrust back into Nick's arms by his extravagant, romantic gesture, not saved from Ridge. Brooke made her choice somewhere in the aftermath, when paramedics checked her vitals and Ridge hovered, like a knight resurrected, not in words, with a glance. It's always been you, said the glance, and Ridge didn't falter for the first time. No back and forth between two outstanding women. No running to Taylor for solace or saying, I need time. It was just a solid, grounded assurance. Brooke was what he desired. Forever. Taylor waited back in Los Angeles. While choosing flowers, she was unaware that her engagement was already a thing of the past and that her future was in ruins. She grinned when Ridge came back until she saw his face, and when he finally said, It's Brooke. It's always been Brooke. Her entire world fell apart. Although Taylor Hayes had previously experienced heartbreak, this was more painful. It was because she trusted Ridge, not because she lost him. Thought things would be different this time. It was too. Not in her favor, though. Taylor broke, not in a bad soap opera-like way, not yet, but in a genuine, unvarnished psychological break that made Forrester creation shudder. Eric was to blame. The patriarch who planned the trip to Italy. The man who, despite his pretense of backing Ridge, consistently stood up for Bridge. She thought he had sabotaged her, and she might be right. Brooke was the one who actually confronted Ridge, the one who matched him fire for fire in Eric's opinion. Now that Bridge had come back to life, Eric celebrated by himself as he saw his son finally fulfill his destiny. However, Taylor didn't simply back off and cry. She stewed instead. She started to subtly undermine Eric's authority at Forrester by recommending design changes and rerouting messages. Her grin hardened. She became heartless. They believe that I am the weak one, she said to herself. Let's see how weak I am. Ridge and Brooke, meanwhile, didn't hide. With media attention, family dinners, and a combined appearance at the upcoming Forrester Gala, they enthusiastically embraced their reunion. Brooke accepted Ridge's proposal without hesitation when he made it again for the 9th or 10th time. Already, their Monte Carlo wedding was turning into the decade's biggest event. Not everyone, though, was applauding. When Thomas and Steffi witnessed their mother's suffering, they became enraged. Meanwhile, Hope and RJ stood up for their mother. The battle lines between generations were established. Simultaneously, Nick quietly departed Italy with his ring still in his pocket and vanished into a seaside village, emotionally destroyed but narratively buried. In the end, the man who attempted to protect Brooke from Ridge managed to save Ridge for Brooke. Nick smoked a cigar and muttered, I should have known, someplace in a calm room with shipping papers and old photographs. However, the storm wasn't over in Los Angeles. Taylor started to dig. Financial documentation, corporate records, historical scandals. She recalled Ridge's business blind spot, which was his weakest area. She provided the media with tips. She began sowing seeds with competing businesses, while maintaining the appearance of being a therapist. What about Eric? He started to pay attention. The reports that are missing. The decline in investor trust. The emails from late at night that disappeared. It was surgical sabotage, not dramatic. Once dedicated to healing, Taylor's sharp mind was now being used as a weapon against the same organization that consistently selected Brooke. Nevertheless, Ridge thrived. Ridge didn't glance over his shoulder for the first time in decades. Instead of taking a side trip to Taylor's house, he booked a honeymoon. No more triangles, no more lies, no more Taylor, he assured Brooke. Logan, it's you. Always. Brooke accepted his belief. Up until the wedding reception, when Steffi confronted Brooke out of rage and grief over her mother. Steffi spat. You took him away once more. You'll never stop. Brooke refused to back down. She said he picked me. The cameras clicked when Ridge joined them and put his hand on Brooke's waist, marking the final, decisive turn in the story that started in the 1980s. Your father finally chose. No more hesitating. No more maybe. Forever, please. Or so we believe. Because Taylor Hayes watches in the shadows of Monte Carlo, awaiting, making plans. The triangle might be over. However, the war? The war has only just started.